Good afternoon, and I welcome all the students, medical educators, all the delegates to this debate, which is going to be a very thoughtful and insightful debate. And the topic of the debate is personalization versus standardization in medical training. So we follow Oxford style formal academic debate format here, and there is a proposing team. For proposing team, Dr. Sushant Mishra sir is there. Sushant Mishra sir is Vice Principal and Professor and HOD of Community Medicine, and sir has got keen interest in medical sociology and education research. Sir has got many publications on that, and I welcome sir onto the dais. Sir, please, sir Sushant. So sir is going to speak for standardization. So do we need to standardize the medical training, the skills training and learning? And in the opposing team, we have Dr. Saravanan Sannyasi sir, who is a renowned surgeon, and sir is part of first bariatric surgery team. Sir is from ASRAM and is also co-convener of NMC Nodal Center. Sir is going to play the role of opposing team. We welcome you, sir. Please sit, sir. Together we can sit, sir, so that it will be convenient also. I will sit in the middle, sir, and moderate the session. Thank you, sir. Now, I will introduce the format. First, we have opening statement round. Opening statement round. Each team, Sushant sir and for Saravanan sir, 3 minutes time will be allotted to pass their
usual flair will come up. Students will be able to produce soups which are similar but not the same. Some people will be, the same basic minimum soup they will be producing. But the thing is, some soups will have extra taste, some soup will have a different flavor. That is what we are. Even, when we take our thumbprints, it's not the same. Each one of us is different. No two leaves are the same. So when no two leaves are the same, why are we producing robots? Imagine, we have Eklavya and Arjuna. Both have the similar competencies, but where their styles of learning the same. One was completely tutored by Dronacharya. The other one, he just saw him and he just, had a self-directed learning and he was able to get the same proficiency. So that is something which we need to address. So that's why I feel personalization is very, very important when it comes to clinical skills. So now I rest my argument here for further discussion.
Thank you, Saravanan sir. With this, we completed the round of opening statements. Now we are entering into core arguments round. Here, 5 minutes time is allotted for each debater. Now I request Sushant sir to elaborate more on how standardization can bring consistency and how it can reduce bias and what is its advantages as part of assessment when we standardize the assessments. Over to you, sir. 5 minutes.
Thank you. Yes, standardization in teaching, learning and assessment is very important because when you talk about skill lab, we assess the students with the help of a standardized checklist that's called OSCE. And we ensure that there is some uniformity is there, which we can say that it's a baseline uniformity, and over the top of that everybody is open to build up. There is nothing like, but a baseline uniformity is essential. And if we have the standardizations, I strongly believe that it will also help the students to get through the licensing examinations like say need next, which was proposed, or USMLE, all these examinations, they also want a standardization. And this also prevents learning gaps in many situations, like across institutions, across regions, across facilities, across many learners. One standardizations or one gap is not maintained. So that means it's a uniformity is maintained. And simulation training, in that we also use the defined rubrics, and this defined rubrics helps to measure their competency. And after all, it's all about equity in training. Students from under-resourced backgrounds also get the same chances or equality of examinations or educations when we talk about standardizations. Similarly, when it comes to the assessment, there is the objectivity and comparability is very, very essential in the assessment, and we are using tools like OSCE for that. A uniform benchmark to prevent any sort of malpractice, or to ensure a better patient safety, is always helpful when we conduct inter-university, inter-state, international mobility. Students these days, they are going anywhere, so that standardization always helps them. Thank you.
Thank you, Shushan sir. Now I request Sarnan sir to speak about the diverse learning needs, the role of portfolio and logbook in the assessment, and how personalization can bring better outcomes. Over to you, sir. 5 minutes.
Yes, sir has already started why personalization is important. Say, I would like to go through a lot of learning models which are available. See, we all know that the learners are different types. Now, we all know about the VARC, the type of learners we have. We have visual learners, we have oral learners, we are people who are, when they read and write, they learn better. And some are good when it is in action, kinesthetic. So these are the variable type of learners who are actually existing. I told you the example of Ekalavya and Arjuna. So imagine somehow Dronacharya has accepted Ekalavya. Probably, we couldn't be, probably Ekalavya would not be Ekalavya which we are actually seeing in the history. Okay, so it all depends on what type of learning style you're adapting to. So which is not possible in a standardized way. No, because we give them one path and they are going to follow that particular path. And second is, another very important learning principle is called the experiential learning. We all learn through experience. We experience something, and then based on that, we create some kind of an abstract conceptualization. And from the abstract conceptualization comes the active experimentation, which is called the Kolb's experiential learning model. So even in that, if you see, he further goes on to say that we have different types of learning styles. We have assimilating style, we have divergent style, like that we have different types of learning styles which are available. So when people are of different types and we give them the same standard, teaching modules and the assessment. And I'm not saying, everybody should have, sir was talking about the final exams, like, where, the competitive exams, which is going to be the same. But when we say individualized, it's not about the assessments. The goal is the same. And the competencies we actually tell them in advance. Only thing is, we are not giving them an actual direction in which we go. A classical example is, in the United States of America is now going in what is called as ILP, which is individualized learning pathways. So everybody, and that too, morning we had some excellent sessions on AI, and with the use of AI, everybody, every student is getting their own individualized learning paths. Their competencies are defined, but the thing is, how they reach the goal may be through different ways. And also when you take assessments, Margaret ma'am was talking about programmatic assessment. When you take programmatic assessment, it is not just your OSCEs alone. There are multiple, the smaller assessments which are happening throughout the whole career. And we take each one of them. And whatever small tasks they are doing may differ from one student to another student. So if you look at the programmatic assessment, it might not be the same when you compare to one student to another student. So you have to take all these things into account. And another thing, we all know about Montessori schools. Actually, this Montessori is an Italian physician. It's a physician. It's a lady, who actually started these schools when she saw this downtrodden students who don't have any schooling. So she took them into her fold, and then whatever they were good at, she was just exploring with them. So that is how Montessori schools have come into being. So even at the start itself, when you start your nursery, we are not giving them exact structured, classes. It's rather exploring what they can do. Each student is going to be different. So when a Montessori is so successful, I think the same thing should be followed by in our medical education as well. That's the only way forward. And also, sir was talking about portfolios. When you look at portfolios, I think portfolio is something where we don't just take our examinations alone into account. Every task you do is actually built into your portfolio. So when people do whatever task they do, they just create a record out of it and keep it in your portfolio, and definitely that's going to be divergent. One portfolio is not going to be the same as the another portfolio. Then how can you say that we can have a standardized teaching? A standardized teaching will only produce mechanical human beings, but only when we allow them to express, go beyond these checklists, use reflections. When you talk about reflection, that itself is personalized. When something is personalized, then it is going to be different. So that is my whole argument, that it has to be, we are not taking structure away. Without structure, there is chaos. There is a structure, but there is enough flexibility. And even if you take AIMS is now adapting to a new concept called as flexible learning with fixed set outcomes. Outcomes are fixed, but the learning is flexible. So I think we need to adapt, and we all know that students are getting bored with the method of teaching which we are having. So definitely we need to adapt to their learning needs, give them different avenues of learning so that they adapt learning better. So thank you very much. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. With this, we completed the core arguments round. Now we are entering into rebuttal round, where the debaters can pass the statements or address the issues that has been raised by the opponents, and they can give the counter arguments. Now I request Sushant sir to start his counter arguments.
Thank you, sir. Sir has raised a good point. Everybody has its different learning styles. I agree with that. But there is a little solid evidence that these learning styles, they significantly improve the medical education. So they have their learning style. I don't deny that. But medicine demands a common baseline competence. And this common baseline competence is essential for giving a standardized care. Therefore, prioritizing the individual preferences over essential skill, students who are learning, they are expected to protect the patient's safety and the public's trust. So, we definitely need a standardization, and standardization doesn't stop that you adopt different learning styles and you build over that. But a baseline standardization is always essential, which can give the patient the trust, and it will also, we can have a larger licensing or uniformity can be maintained.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Sarunan sir to pass his counter arguments.
No, it's always nice to be second on any debate because we'll have the final say. So I think I should thank sir for giving me the opportunity to always be on the second person. It's always easy to defend whatever he says. So first, let's come to sir was talking about equity in medical education. Actually speaking, there are concepts called equality, equity and justice. So these are the newer terminologies which are actually being discussed when it comes to resource management. When we talk about everybody getting the same standardized this learning style, that is called equality. We all feel equality is good. Okay, but what is needed is equity. Imagine there are 3 students who differ in their heights. They are trying to peep into I had a picture, I thought a picture will speak, 1,000 volumes. So, but the picture they're not putting it up. There are 3 students who are trying to peep over the fence and trying to look into a match. A guy who is taller will be able to see it better. A person who is shorter will not be able to see. And you provide all of them the same amount of something to stand on. Even then, that is equality. You give the same a stepper wherein they can just step on it and still see. But a short person will now, even with the help of a stepper, he will not be able to look beyond the fence and look at the field. So that is what is equality. But equity is a person who is shorter, he needs 3 steppers, while a person who is taller will just need 1 stepper to actually look over the fence, and that is called equity, and that is called personalization. So yes, so that one exactly. The second slide which you're seeing will speak volumes about what I am trying to say. Equality is what a standardized technique will give you. Still, the shorter person is not able to watch the match. But if you give the shorter person, double of it, take 1 from this person and give it to the other person, which is what exactly the Indian government is doing with our GST also. The same thing, if you do, that is called as equity. And my second argument is exactly what you see on the other picture. That says, for our education, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb the tree. And Albert Einstein says, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its entire life believing it is stupid. Because we have the same path for all the students. Some students who cannot adapt to that learning style will always think, I'm not fit for this particular branch of study. But instead, the learning style, if you adapt the learning style to his needs, he'll be able to achieve the same goal. And another important thing is we are looking for evidence. See, one of the largest studies which have been done is called as the Hattie's Visible Learning. If you can go look into the net, there's something called Hattie's Visible Learning, and it involves 50,000 studies. It is something which involves 50,000 studies and involving 240 million students. I think one of the largest study ever done in the world. 240 million students have been involved, and he has actually looked at the variable things which actually enhance learning. And he says personalized learning is one of the important predictors to actually, but he also tells complete personalized learning will also not help them. It has to be with some kind of a direction, some kind of a feedback. So that is why, even in CBME, if you see, a lot of importance has been given for self-directed learning. We don't call it self-learning. A self-learning is different. Whatever they want to learn, that is self-learning. A self-directed learning is something where we are there, but allowing them to explore in their same way, but in between we will go and see whether they are on the same path. So that is actually what the personalized teaching model which we are proposing. So I actually rest my thing here with this particular slide, and sir has another slide to actually show. Can we show the next slide, please? That slide you sent, sir? Oh, you're sending it. So I will rather say, so what is happening here is, the elephant wants to climb it, The elephant, completely, uproots the tree, and now every one of the other animals, they'll be able to climb the tree. Okay, that is us rebuttal for that particular side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now the rebuttal round is over. Now it's a very good round where it's a Q&A round where the audience can directly interact with the debaters. So the audience, whoever have questions, please raise your hand and introduce yourself and clearly ask your question. Is there any questions? Please raise your hand.
If they don't have any questions, that means they have decided on right.
Sir has.
After listening both of them, both are complementary to each other. Standardization is required and personalization also required. Probably after standardization, you can judge the people and pass or fail. You can judge. Personalization require further improvement. Like in brief, I can say standardization required at undergraduate level. To go to postgraduate level, personalization is required. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Any comments, sir?
Sir, further to comment upon.
Sir, please introduce yourself.
So myself, Dr. Shivaprabodh, Professor of Biochemistry, NRI Medical College. To comment on both standardization and personalization, if you involve our own employees as a standardized patient, our employees will feel themselves and they will personalize themselves. So in that, our employees will feel that we are also teaching, we are also helping a student to become a good doctor. Employees in the sense 4th class employees or anyone. So like that, in a standardized patient, you can observe personalization also. That is one thing, sir. Second thing, we cannot standardize all patients. Only some disorders can be standardized and very common disorders can be personalized. Real patients they can see. Like that, that is my opinion after listening to both the discussions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And we are not supposed to judge somebody just on with a summative assessment. That's why portfolios and all your log books, they become very, very important in a overall assessment of a student. So if I can summarize on sir's behalf, a structure is needed. Without structure, there will be chaos. A structure is needed definitely for this thing, and definitely there should be a scope for personalization. A structure is needed. Without a structure, we cannot personalize. There should be a line, and you can draw any number of curves, but it should be around the line. Okay, the line will be your standardization, and whatever curves you are running around it can be your personalization. You can draw different kinds of lines, curves around that particular line. You cannot draw a curve completely away from it. Somebody, you can draw a curve like that and go to the final thing, but they will be wasting our time. Everything, that's why, it should be around that line. You can have any number of curves so that, you can reach that particular thing depending on individual preferences. I think, a final verdict from what discussions we had, a structure is needed, but definitely with a lot of scope for individualization so that, individual brilliance will also come out and it will ultimately help our patients. Thank you very much, sir. And closing comments, sir.
Definitely, I agree with sir. Structure is required, and this structure has to be there in the curriculum planning itself. So the curriculum planners, whether we are going for standardization or assessment, teaching, learning, or maybe personalizations, it has to be there in the curriculum planning, and it has to be also informed to the learners what we are going to do. So they also should be clarity from both sides should be there. How we are approaching the teaching and how we are approaching the assessment. That also should be there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I hope this particular debate has given meaningful insights and perspectives to all the audience who have gathered here and who are patiently listening from start to the end, far end of the day. And I thank Sushant Mishra sir and Saravanan Sannyasi sir for acting as debaters for today's session and for sharing these insightful thoughts. It's a distinct privilege for me to introduce both of them and to moderate the session. I thank organizers and our management for giving me this opportunity. With this, I conclude the debate. Thank you.
Thank you, sirs, for the energetic debate. We thank our speakers and moderator for this amazing session. We request Dr. Vinay Kumar, sir, to present the mementos to the speakers. Now I request both the speakers to present the certificate to Dr. Vinay, sir. Thank you, one and all. Once again, a reminder to all, there will be a cultural event at the same venue at 6 p.m. followed by a gala dinner at Arna Conventional, Eluru. Bus will be arranged for this at 7:30 p.m. near the principal's office, and all the APMEA members are requested to attend the general body meeting at 5:30 p.m. at the College Council Hall in the principal's office. B module. Ground floor, sir. Ground floor. In the principal's office. And one more announcement on behalf of ASRAM Medical College, a darshanam at